Hello and welcome to Howard's Game of Wonder. I'm Chris, aka Howard Blues, welcoming you back down here to my Cave of Wonder and to my every other week vlog. Yeah. If you're new, this is where a time that I sit down, I do a little painting, I do a little talking about the hobby, and I invite you to share your own hobby projects with me as well. And I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to start off with on the old painting thing. Truth be told, I have a mountain of stuff on my desk in various stages of progress. And I'd like to finish some. It's a truthfully, the desk is a literal mess of stuff as I take a few photos, because I realize now it's like I have everything set up. So I'm going to be able to show you just how messy this is. So what I'm hoping to work on today, as I chat with you, is just trying to finish some of these things up. So I'll be doing a little bit of that as we do a little bit of talking. And just kind of sharing some thoughts about what's going on in the hobby world as we speak. And with that, where to even start? That's a great question. I think I'm going to start with this Druid. He is really close to done. I think I just need to do a little bit of wash on this little bag I found there. Otherwise, I think he's looking good. I don't know that there's too much more that I could do on him to really improve things. I might, when I do the wash, do a little bit more on this hood. I thought I'd keep part of it gray, but the more I look at it, I just don't like it. So I'm going to start with that and kind of do a little bit of washing on it and see what we can do. Just going to use some of this game color wash color. So let's start with that. And yeah, welcome. I hope you've been having a good bit of hobby time. I have not. I went from dealing with illness to just some real stress going on in my work life and personal life, and just overall, it's been hard for me to come down in hobby in the evenings. So there hasn't been a whole lot of painting, despite what you kind of see as this mess of stuff. Part of the reason I have so many things going on my desk at this moment is in part due to I was on an episode of the Triple B podcast, Beer, Blues, and BS, and could not decide on what I wanted to work on and paint, and I just ended up just constantly starting new things. Like I would paint a color and go, oh, that's a great color, that would work on this miniature. Just pull that miniature up and just apply it. And so hence the mess. So most of the damage that you're seeing with this was all kind of done in one general sitting. It happens. But yeah, painting and getting down here to the cave has just not really been something that I've been able to do a lot of. And I'm a little disappointed in that. I like a good chance to paint and do these sorts of things, and I just have not had the opportunity to do so. That is not going to really stain that the way that I was hoping. Okay, might have to let that dry a little bit and then come in with a slightly different color. We'll see how that works. I think I might have used a speed paint the last time I did kind of that shading. So we'll kind of let that dry out. I also have to add, part of the other reason why I have a mess of things is I actually tried to make a different recording of this vlog, and it didn't go well. I kind of just got in a weird circular loop of talking. So all I talked about was the shading and stonework I was doing on several of these guys. They're close to done. I just wanted to put some work on the stone, and I did that stone tutorial video not too long ago, and so I was basically repeating that process, and I just kept talking about it. I'm like, after I finished, I'm like, oh, I don't know that I said, like, I recorded for an hour, and I don't know that I said much of anything of interest. Actually, that's not quite true. I did do a small unboxing of some stuff I got from GW, and I'm going to take and insert that right now because it was actually good. It's like the best part of that hour-long recording I did. So enjoy this little tidbit here for a second while I'll probably, I mean, for me it's going to be seconds, but yeah, enjoy that tidbit. That's a nice little box sound. I got the new Red Gobbo for the year. The Red Gobbo's Tin Boy. So it's here. I got it. I had pre-ordered it. And I'm happy because this is a cool model. I love everything from the Charlie Brown tree he's got in his bag to just the whole kind of nutcracker feel, and it's fun. So yeah, a new Red Gobbo, and I had kind of hoped as I sat down here and went, what do? I could get back to the Red Gobbos. I have them figured out now. I really want to do stuff with them. But as I said, I got too much stuff going on my desk right now. And some of it I could always move up onto my shelf here where I can have my works in progress. You'll probably recognize some of them if you've been a long time viewer of this channel. Some of them you might not. There's a whole series of Warhammer Underworlds figures up here that I was going to do a whole series on that, and I put them together. It was a terrible video because the whole video, it was me assembling them. And every time I kind of got one going, I'd be like, and now let's cut in for the lore while I put this together. Well, I had misremembered reading about this particular faction on the website, and I thought there was all this great lore about each of the characters that made up this Warhammer Underworlds fan. And so I was leaving like, oh, okay, I can have a time lapse while I read this lore. It'll work great. And then so I filmed it that way, went back and re-looked at the lore so I could see what I needed to do. And I kid you not, it was like a sentence about each one. There wasn't deep lore. I was just misremembering something else I had read. And so it was pretty embarrassing. But in doing so, I have this faction that is ready to go. Of course, I have the Red Gobbos. Now I have a new Red Gobbo. And so this is, I think, part of what's sparking me to do some painting and try to finish some things. Like this Druid, who is so close. I'm so close to him. I have I have this guy. Some of you might remember. He was in the second video I ever made for this channel. He is almost done as I kind of look at him. I'm down to a couple of things. I want to come in and just do a little bit of kind of white-ish gray highlights, I think, along kind of his fur here. I was just trying to tint it in a little bit, so I need to do a little bit of that. I need to trim out this orange piece to make it into something. I originally had it green, but then when his skin ended up being this beautiful shade of green, I was like, that doesn't work. It's kind of why I had to paint this jewel purple. It was originally green as well, but then his skin ended up this color, and it's like, that doesn't work. So I really have that, and then I have the great challenge, which is his eyes. And I really think he's got what looks to be, it looks like it was a mold line that kind of runs through his eye. I think I'm going to leave it a little bit. I'm going to hit it with a different color, probably a lighter green, just very carefully, kind of like, in the writing world, when you have a problem, like a problem that you notice, they do what they call hanging a lantern on it. So my thought is, I'm going to hang a lantern on this little mold line that goes kind of by his eye and paint that a little bit lighter color. And then I'm going to leave it. It's got a little bit. I had put some spectral white in here to kind of start the eye. I'm going to leave it that way. Leave it like it's a fogged over eye, like he's been blinded in that eye. And then just focus on this one, which should be easy to do. But yeah, a few little touches on him. And then I got to fix his stone base. I kind of got that going. I just want to do the next steps. If you saw the stone tutorial, just a quick dry brush of my stone color to help kind of bring things back and take care of some of these orange markers. I then want to, he's got some interesting things on this base from the roller that I use, and I want to come in and put some color into those. They kind of look like leaves and vines, so I want to do some stuff there and maybe figure out something for this part, just to add some variety to that base. So he's almost done. The Druid is almost done, and a couple other things. So I got like so many things that are so close. I just need to finish. Bruce is not too far along. I'll get back to Bruce. Trust me, I will get back to Bruce. I want to finish him before the year is out. And then Gobbo. So I got a lot to paint, and I will probably be doing a lot more of that. Also, if you keep an eye on the channel, I have decided to do some more videos and some different content. So this is my first chance to really talk about it, but I kind of wanted to help grow the channel, and I think releasing a vlog every other week isn't going to really grow things too terribly much, and so I wanted to try and at least put out a video a week. But doing a vlog like this isn't always going to work. I didn't want to just get sucked into just doing Kickstarter reviews. I've done a lot of those, and so I'm going to try a couple of different things. The first one, which I've already recorded, and I need to do the editing, and you will see that next week after this video comes out. I'm doing a series where I go through the games that are in my cave and just kind of breaking down. It's not a review. It's not a how to play. It's a kind of, think of it, a why is it in my game collection is kind of the best way to put it. It's talking about the game, what I love about it. Some of them are kind of on the older side, and so it might be me telling how it shaped my gaming career and got me into this. It's just kind of a fun way to explore some games that have been out. Some of them are new, but games that have been out and maybe don't get talked about as much as they used to, because games tend to have a lifespan and a window, and so this is a chance to talk about them. So you're going to see some of that in here, and I might do some other things too. I'm very much exploring some thoughts and such, so trying to do things that are different. A lot of people do board game reviews, a lot of people do how to play videos, a lot of people do painting tutorials. I'm trying to just hit some different notes on these things. That's why I do more of a project vlog where you get to see my work and other sort of things. So get ready. Oh yeah, the other idea that I've had is games tend to have lore that are really interesting, but again, don't always get shared. So I might do some lore videos. It could be kind of fun to read through some of the books I have, put together like a small little essay type thing, and just share some lore. The kind of thing that's just be fun to listen to while you paint or hobby. So I got some things planned. So expect to see a little bit more stuff coming out on this channel, hopefully. So, and truthfully, I'm just going to say a lot of this has been spurred on to those of you who have liked, subscribed, and shared comments on it. When that stuff happens, you can't help but feel a bit motivated to produce more stuff. I'm getting out a little bit of Army Painter's hard leather speed paint. Not a whole lot. Hardly any at all. Where's my pokey tool? I just want to, as his hood's kind of drying, I just kind of want to, I'm going to use a little bit of this to kind of finish it off, because it shaded a little bit. I want a little bit more. So we'll just kind of hit it. I don't want to go too heavy, but just to kind of help with some of that brownish tint a little bit. bring it in also onto his hood and kind of hit some of these darker spots. But just to, again, help take care of that gray, because it wasn't working for me. So we'll just hit that. Let that kind of dry, and I think that'll be okay there. It'll still be kind of light compared to some of the others because I did multiple coats. And then on this little bag, which I hit with a wash, I'm also going to throw a little of that on there as well, because I think it'll just add some shade and tone. And then I highlighted his shoes and such, but I'm going to come in and apply a little bit of this to it as well, just to kind of change up kind of the leather on it a little bit. So I think this guy I could nearly call done, which is great. I just really need to do a little bit of a highlight on his base. But as I look at it, there's one spot that I'm really kind of missing, and that he's got these leg wraps that are down here and wrapped around his boot. I definitely need to do something with those. Let me ponder that one for a little bit. I'll come up with something. I want it to look different than his actual boots. Otherwise, it makes no sense to do that. We'll think of something. While we're doing that, let's maybe talk a little bit of news out there. Although one of these is a news story that I've been meaning to bring up for quite some time and just haven't. Both have involved Shaman, womanly or not. One is the first one. We'll start with it. It's the older story, much older. It goes to show how much I missed this when it came out. Super Fantasy Brawl was a game originally done by Mythic Games, which I got into when it was that, and then I went to Shaman. Shaman did a pre-order for it, for kind of a new version, and I was a little torn on it, but I ended up buying in for two reasons. One, they were going to do the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Awesome. Two, they were going to do characters from Mortal Kombat 1, and the selling point on it, because Mortal Kombat 1, not necessarily my favorite character designs from the Mortal Kombat universe, but the exclusive figure was going to be Goro. And in the history of Mortal Kombat, Goro has always been one of my favorite characters. I love monsters, and Goro was the monster of that first game, and I've always kind of gravitated towards him. Well, apparently there were some problems with the licensing, and the licensing on Goro didn't work out well, mostly because he's not a main character or playable character really in the game. Mortal Kombat 1 had this whole assistant thing, so he kind of tag teamed with that, and so they put a lot of characters into that tag team role, and Goro, I believe, was in that tag team role. I didn't actually play the game. I really am more into the Mortal Kombat story than the games these days. So I believe that was the case. So they swapped him out, and now it's going to be Shao Kahn. I mean, Shao Kahn is not a terrible character, and he'll be interesting to paint. Although I didn't really like his Mortal Kombat 1 form, I really liked his Mortal Kombat 11 form. Where they started playing into kind of his dragon heritage, and he's had a few more scales, and he just looked awesome, especially in the Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath game play. Oh, he looked good. I'll put up an image so you can see. I really liked the look of it, and I would have been excited about it. But this is the Mortal Kombat 1 version, which is this version here. Yeah, so I'm a little disappointed in that. As for when that game is coming out, I have no idea. Shaman is in such trouble. Which brings me to my other piece of news, which involved Anastyr. Anastyr was another Mythic Games creation that went... it was actually their last crowdfunding campaign. It was kind of a side-scroller beat-em-up, but in kind of a Golden Axe kind of world, so kind of like almost post-apocalyptic fantasy setting. That was kind of cool. The problem that I had, it wasn't the biggest thing that caught my eye. I was excited for the whole. I was excited really for the side-scrolling beat 'em up kind of portion of it. I liked side-scroller beat 'em ups. I played a lot with my brother, and in fact, here's a hot take for you: the best side-scroller beat 'em up. And I know I'm going to get some flack for this, but hey, if you think differently, tell me in the comments. Was a crossover. It was Double Dragon and the Battletoads mixing it up together. My brother and I played a ton of that game. Always kind of got to the same spot and died off because it's still that arcade style where they made the games very punishing, and you'd always get to that point where there's that level that was meant to just suck up your quarters, but playing it just was frustrating. You never could get past it. But I loved me some of Battletoads Double Dragons. It was one of the best. I, of course, enjoyed playing Double Dragons 2, the original Battletoads game. That was fantastic. What other were the great side-scrolling beat-em-ups that we did? Oh, of course, there was the X-Men arcade game. Loved that. And, of course, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade games. Loved those. Those, to me, are the best. And some people might be saying, well, wait, you're missing some of these other classic ones. If I didn't mention them, I probably didn't play them, and that's why they don't make my list. Sorry, it's kind of hard to. What is it? I can't remember if it's like Streets of Fury or I forget what it was. I remember it has the character Mike Hagar in it. If you can remember, or hey, Future Howard, we'll put the title up there. Yeah, we just didn't play that one as kids, so it's not my general favorite game. So, but yeah, Battletoads. Oh, loved me some Battletoads. Would love. I did have a company pegged for a while, and I never had the money when I thought of it to do it. But there was a company that made a kind of knockoff Battletoads, kind of Warhammer 40K type figures, and I always wanted to get some, not because I played 40K, but because it's the Battletoads, and those were always my favorite. But yeah, Battletoads. God, I love those games. Growing up as a kid, they were quirky. They were fun. Anyway, Anastyr was the game. I kind of started on that, and then I forgot where I was going because I got sucked into being nostalgic about beat-em-up games. Anastyr, as I said, was done by Mythic. It was a side-scroller, kind of Golden Age or Golden Axe style beat-em-up. You get to ride dinosaurs and all of that. And I'm not gonna lie, like it kind of won me over in the last little bits of the campaign, and I was like, okay, sure, I'll throw some money towards this. It looks like it could be fun. I don't have anything like that in my collection. Could be a good time. So that was my kind of original pledge. Well, then Mythic went under because they were running as, I don't want to say Ponzi scheme, but they were basically operating under some terrible business practices that I think really kind of got them the angst that they deserved, and unfortunately kind of brought some of their great games to an end. And they sold off several of their kind of properties towards the end, and Anastyr was one of them, and they sold it to CMON. Well, CMON is going through their own bit of trouble, and so unfortunately, in order to continue their business, they sold off Anastyr again. So it's now in the hands of a different company whose name is escaping me, and they have it up on GameFound, and future me will put up some stuff on it for people to kind of get in and back a new version of it. And there's a lot of people like myself who maybe threw some money at the original campaign and are like, well, shucks. Because CMON, when they bought it, they had promised all of the original backers, like, hey, you'll get a free copy of the base game, at least. And so, for some of us, I was like, okay, well, maybe they're not a total loss. But it turns out that, with this new company, that's not going to be the case. If you want in on it and you were a past backer, they are offering a discount, which is about 50% off. I think that the base game, for anybody who hasn't, is somewhere in like the 89 euro. I think it was in euros. But if you originally back it through 5, there's some other changes with it, though. And that is that the heroes are still going to be miniature, but everything else is going to be standees. And the other part of that being... excuse me. The other part of that being that they are producing STL files for the bad guys if you want to 3D print them, but you're going to have to purchase them. And so it can cost quite a bit in this case to do it. And part of that is being that the original miniatures were designed for kind of a cast system, kind of that mass-produced miniature side. And that's a different process than a 3D print. So they had to go in and kind of resculpt some of these miniatures to make them work on a 3D print scale. And because of that, there's now a cost that is kind of added into that, as you've had to pay artists and such. So that's why you have to buy them. And I know that there's a lot of people who backed Anastyr. I read through some of the comments, and they're kind of feeling a bit like, well, hey, wait, CMON said they were going to do this. We get that you're not CMON, but why do we have to pay for this? Why is it so expensive? And all that. I get it. There's some real frustrations, and it's not these guys' fault for things being the way it is. They're trying to make good when they don't really have to. And I think we just kind of have to, as people, remember that. And it's tough because for a lot of people who backed the original, you might feel like you're owed a little something because you put forth money, you invested in this, and there's an emotional thing. You feel terrible because you, in some ways, got scammed because they shouldn't have been running this Anastyr campaign to begin with. They didn't have the money to finish the campaigns they had already run and promised people. And so you feel a bit cheated in some of this stuff. You feel like you got taken advantage of. And now, to maybe recover something so you don't feel as terrible about what has happened, it's going to cost you quite a bit. So I get some people's feelings on it, and I'm sure if others who watch this have feelings, feel free to share. As I said, I was one who backed it. I didn't back it quite at the full level with every expansion, which is weird for me, but I don't know. I just had a feeling. Anyway. So with that, I get it. I totally get it. People are upset and such with it. But yeah, feel free to put in your comments if you're one of the backers, your take. But I can tell you, I'm out. I'm not going to put any more money towards it, even with the discount. Even that, I feel like I have put enough towards that, and I'm just going to cut my losses and run. I wasn't a super huge fan of it to begin with, which I think is why I didn't necessarily go for the whole kit and caboodle. I was kind of more of a let's wait and see how this turns out. So let's see. I'm adding a little bit more green back in. I hate these broccoli bases. like it's on this druid. But he's a metal figure, and so removing him from this would be a nightmare. So doing the best I can. I'm actually going to probably take, and after I've sealed him up, I'll probably add some flocking and such just to try and bring him back. As I continue just to, you might notice I'm working on a bunch of different things. I'm just trying to bring some things kind of together and finish out some things. A lot of my moss that I had put down kind of got erased from this. So I'm just trying to add a little bit back in here and there just to break up kind of all the gray a little bit. Not worrying about a whole lot, just tinting. Just tinting. I'll probably do some really kind of leafy things on there. Maybe I'll do like purple. That could be really interesting. Let me think on that one for a moment. So yeah, that's the Anastyr saga, and I think that in the end, I'm just going to be out and cut my losses and move on, and that's just what I'm going to do. So, yeah, that was my. Oh, one more thing of news. I wanted to talk about this one before it happened, but it's happened. Games Workshop announced that they are doing a new Warhammer Quest game, which I thought was kind of interesting. They did. Warhammer Quest has been a board game series that they've done quite a few of. They really hit a high note with Blackstone Fortress, enough so that like I missed out on it, and there were some of the expansions and things with that were very kind of limited run. So while you can get the base game of Blackstone Fortress, it's still out there. Getting all the expansions it's kind of impossible, and so I didn't get it on that because part of the time that I kind of had gotten into like looking at Blackstone Fortress, they introduced another one. It was called Cursed City, which really tickled my fancy because it looked like vampire hunters in a city where they're the big bad is Radikar. But think of like if Dracula, like a true Romanian Dracula, not to the Bela Lugosi, cape wearing version, although I love Bela Lugosi's cape wearing version. It's not a description. I'm just saying more of that Romanian Slavic folklore-esque version is Radikar. But he's taken over the city. It is fallen to corruption, zombies and skeletons walking the night, and here you had some brave adventurers trying to save the city and do away with the vampires. It's just a really cool theme, that kind of vampire witch hunter Van Helsing kind of look to it. It tickled a bone, it does a terrible. It tickled my fancy. I was like, ooh, this could be really cool. And the art on it was gorgeous. So I backed that, or got in on that one. Fancy back. I managed to get a pre-order on that one, got that. Unfortunately, that kind of came out during COVID. And there was all sorts of disruptions. There were sellouts of it. The expansions were kind of meh because it was, here's a box, but no models, so you had to go out and buy the models individually if you got the expansions. So like I got the expansions, I had to go out and get the models. I got those way back when I started this channel. I actually had them sitting here because I was working on assembling and all of that, and I need to get back to painting those. Anyway, so there was kind of this bad taste because, again, as I said, like it just hit this time where like COVID and the prices of shipping apparently went up, and it just sank this game. Like Cursed City was kind of dead on arrival because not everybody could get the game, and then by the time you got it, it was just pricey, and they weren't going to reprint it because that would have been more shipping. It became a whole disaster. And so it was kind of hard to see that they'd ever bring it back, because I think Cursed City just kind of tanked because of that. Well, they're bringing back another one, and this one's called Darkwater, Warhammer Quest Darkwater, and it has a little bit more traditional fantasy themes of it, with kind of, you have your knight and your dwarf and your magic user and all of that. going up against the forces of Nurgle, and for the Jade Abbey, and a water source that supposedly can make you immortal. Okay, cool little bit of scenario. The models are beautiful. I'm not a huge Nurgle fan because it's just kind of disgusting and pus and all that, but these, I forget the exact name of the guy with the big arm who I'm showing you now, but that just looks like a cool monstrous figure. The Pestigores falls in my love of Minotaur kind of stuff. So there's just a lot of really, really good stuff in this that I like, and I think is just amazing. So the only thing I didn't like was the price tag. Yes, you're getting a lot of miniatures. Yes, you're getting this really kind of cool book board system, but with kind of all the tax and shipping and all that, you're talking around here. I think it's nearly $300 to get this game, and whew, that is a lot to spend on something like that. So, needless to say, like, it's pricey. I'm using a good chunk of my hobby budget because I got in on it because really cool miniatures. But, talk about a kind of a pricey start to a game, and it'll be interesting to see what they do if they do expansions and all of that. But it looks beautiful, and I think there's going to be a lot of people who want it just for the miniatures that are in it, because there's that whole kind of secondary market with some of that with folks. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I'm interested. So there, some interesting news, things that I thought were kind of fun and fascinating. So I'm just kind of coming in on this Shaman guy. As I said, I originally kind of had this fur a little bit more on the white side, and I just I ran some brown over it, and I like what it did with it, but there's a lot of other brown on here, so I'm just kind of coming in with a kind of a yellowish white, and I'm just kind of hitting some highlights. So I just need a little bit of like I think a gold to help kind of boost this, and then probably a little bit of yellow to kind of just highlight that into something. The silver is kind of blending in, so yeah, I might try and hit it with a gold tone just to pop it just a little bit. This thing being it's a crystal, I should decide if it's a power crystal, because then I might do a little object source lighting on there, or if it's just a dangly pretty thing. Both are interesting options. But he is nearly done. And you know what? If I did that purple on there, definitely could tie it into down here with this stuff that's on the ground. I think that there just needs to be. This thing is just, it looks kind of like a crazy-esque carving of something. In fact, I think I'm going to take a bit of this gray. And right here, it looks like an interesting like squid thing, and I have a little motif. One of the things I talked about in that video that I did not release is I don't play D&D anymore right now. Not because I hate the game or anything like that. I just don't really have a group yet. Junior's growing. One day we'll play. But because of that, I don't have a group yet. There are things, there are little Easter eggs within my painting because I slowly because I don't have a campaign. There's just certain things, little things that I tend to do that just make an interesting little Easter egg, a little thing that if you're paying attention, you'll spot a little trend of stuff. And one of them, I'll give this one away. If you look here on my orc shaman, you'll note the feathers, white with a blue tip, right? If you noticed earlier, on Mr. Druid's staff, white feather, blue tip. Is there a reason for that? Not like a well thought out one, but it's a little connector thing, and they're not the only ones. If again, if you remember way back when I started this channel, I painted from Malifaux. It was Marcus the Beast Master or Beast Tamer. Take a look at him. Did you see it? Yeah. I like little Easter egg things like that. These little things that, if you're paying attention, you might notice. So, I like doing little things like this. Speaking of that, I happened to look at this dead guy who's on the back here, and his hair needs some attention. He's got a little bit of a weird look to him. And I think this pouch thing needs a little something. It's a nice contrast, but I feel like that needs. So just a few more little things to kind of work on. Like I said, I think Mr. Druid here is good to go. I think I am at a point where I am happy with how he looks. Is there always things I could... Oh, wait, I still got to do those wraps, because it kind of looks like rope as I look at it closely. So we'll just come in, and it's just kind of wrapped around. So I'm just going to hit, and I'm just kind of hitting the parts that are sticking out a bit more than the others. I'm really excited to have actually this guy done. He's been on my table for a long time. And I'm sorry that it's not a great camera angle, but to get to where that leg's wraps are, I kind of have to angle the model at such a weird... Now, I'm probably going to let that dry a little bit, and I'm probably going to use... I still have a little bit of that hardened leather speed paint, and I'm just going to use that as a little bit of a shade. I'll put a little bit of water into it and just kind of let that shade in. Because here's the thing. That is such a small detail in the grand scheme of this figure. That is such a small thing that I don't need to waste a ton of time trying to brighten that up or make that shine. I once heard a professional painter, when talking about painting miniatures and such, they said that the face is the focal point, and so that's where you should put in kind of your most effort, is on the face. And then as you move away from the face, it's okay to maybe have that be a little less detailed, or to leave more in shadow or things like that, because again, we're trying to bring attention to there. And so for these straps on these boots are something that people are not going to spend a whole lot of time looking at, staring at, figuring out. It's okay if I just am very kind of quick on those and don't put a lot of time into them. I try to focus on the features that I think are going to pull. So the skull on his staff, around his cloak, these little yellow kind of dots that kind of bring it in. Although they kind of down here kind of attract you more to his torso region. But I'm trying to bring your attention up and towards his face. And overall, I'm really happy with how he's turned out. So I'm going to hit that with just a little bit now that that's probably dry. And then all I really got left to do is black out his base, seal him up, and we got a miniature that's done on the show. Way to go, Howie. It's a rarity around here. So just going to come in, as I said, using kind of speed paint. I'm just going to add actually a little water to it, because I don't want it to be too thick on this. I want it to be really kind of light, just trying to do what it's supposed to do, right? Which is darken and contrast. Although, as I do that first one, it's going to blend that right into his boot. So I'm going to stop. That's why we try things. That's a little too close to the boot, that leather. So I'm just immediately going to come back to my tan. I'm just going to okay, I'm gonna have to let that dry a little bit, and we'll rescue it. These things happen. Yeah, I should have thought about that with the coloration. I should have gone with a different color. These things happen. These things happen. Well, I'm gonna let that dry, but I'm not gonna make you sit here and watch paint dry with me. And truthfully, looking at the time, we've hit our hour. I know I never get as much done as I think, but hopefully we had a good chat and you got to listen to something while you did your own bit of hobbying. I'm probably going to do a little bit more. My family went out to lunch with some friends. They'll be back when they get here. So, and which actually should be pretty soon. So I'm going to do my own little bit of painting, and hopefully, as I said, you're getting to do some hobby time of your own. Try and get it in there, folks. If you're like me, hobbying is good for the old mental health and functionality. So with that, if you made it to this part of the video, thank you so much for giving this video a chance and joining me on this hobby journey. I greatly appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody who has given a like, a subscribe, or left a comment. I love reading those comments. I've gotten into some great discussion with some amazing people in the comment section. So okay, keep that up. I love hearing from you and hearing what you're up to project-wise. And you can comment on anything from the stories I talked about to your own painting success. And we're all just enjoying this hobby together. That's the great thing. So hopefully we'll see you down there. And hopefully we'll catch you all back down here in the cave again next time. Morning, everybody.